Hey, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to my first shave soap review. Just a little background information. My name's Lee Miner, and love fragrances. My journey with fragrances started when I got into pomade. I started styling my hair a little bit and, looking more into like male grooming. And I found that there was a couple pomades that, I really enjoyed. I really liked the smell of, like the Iron Society, O'Dowd's, back when they were using a lot of heavy lavender stuff. I was able to pick up their spiced lemon and lavender, which smells amazing. But something that I noticed with a lot of the pomades is I liked how they smelled, but I didn't really know what about it was that I liked how it smelled, which then kind of carried over into my passion for fragrances. So I got into men's cologne, and I was actually lucky enough to work as a fragrance consultant for a little bit that actually gave me access to some more higher end fragrances. And I started picking up a lot of colognes. I got like a couple higher end, more like niche quality stuff. I got Bond Number 9's Scent of Peace for him. My most recent, Laden by Parfum de Marly. And of course, the classic, got the Creed Green Irish Tweed. And something that I kind of noticed with a lot of reviewers who would, do the pomades, they would always kind of mention a little bit of the smell, but it was very, hard to really describe. They would talk about it, but what does that really mean? And then watching a lot of YouTube reviews on different fragrances, people would start really breaking down into the notes, projection, stuff like that. But again, you can talk notes until you're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, what does that really translate to for someone who's never smelled that note before? And talking about fragrances, something that I picked up recently, or at least that I found that I really liked a lot, was one from Tom Ford called Plum Japonais, part of their private collection. And getting into men's grooming, styling, wet shaving, things like that, I also became a big fan of obviously different shave soaps. And a lot of different shave soaps are inspired by some other fragrances. You got Executive Man by Sterling, which is based off Aventus, and honestly you'll find a ton of different clones of Aventus for good reason. It smells amazing. And then I found myself, I usually tend to lean more towards those avenues of shave soaps only because I have the majority of those smells that they're kind of based off of. So starting off, shave, you apply some cologne, it works well, pairs well together, so it just kind of goes hand in hand. But with Plum Japonais, something that I was having a hard time finding was any shave soaps that really are heavy on plum. Now, Plum Japonais, if you've never smelled it, is a very rich, sweet, cinnamon, like spicy, it's like a spiced plum. It's amazing. And I was doing a little bit of searching and I came across Ariana Evans Asian Plum. So obviously Asian Plum, Plum Japonais, they seem like in the same ballpark. So, I took a look at it and I said, why not? I've been meaning to try Ariana Evans for a while now. I've heard nothing but great things about their Kaizen base. So yeah, I figured I'd pick it up, take a stab at it, and do a review on and like try to break it down on the scent profile as to the most simplest way possible. How can someone who has never smelled this before get an idea as to how it smells? A lot of different wet shaving people in the community on YouTube, amazing reviewers, nothing bad, on any of them. But something that they don't really seem to get really big on is the scent profile. They'll start shaving, they'll talk about their day, ask how you're doing, and they'll say, oh, this is really pleasant. A little tinge in the background. I'd give it on the strength of smell a 5, and that's about it. And it's kind of shave for 20 minutes. So I'm gonna try to do something similar with shaving for 20 minutes, but really focusing on how does this smell. So that way, if you're interested in it, you can see my thoughts, see if it may be something that's still up your alley if you're interested in picking it up. So yeah, I've been blooming the shave soap, trying to get that hot water to activate those different fragrance notes, really get the scent profile going a little bit more. So without further ado, without rambling, I'll go ahead and start my shave. All right. So today we're working with Merkur razor. I just loaded it with some Gillette Platinums. First time using them, so if I start getting some weepers, don't make fun of me. I got my Maggard synthetic razor. I'm very excited. I'm going to try that out for the first time today. So I'm going to take some of that blooming water. Get that on there. Alright, feeling good. And, okay, so right off the bat, without really activating, like working it into the lather, first impression is it's very powdery. Not powdery, but it's hard to describe. It reminds me of like a purple Smartie, the candy. How it's kind of like chalky and powdery, but it has that sweet, almost like grapey smell, except it leans more on the plum. It's pretty nice. Definitely a lot sweeter than I was anticipating. Not necessarily a bad thing, especially, you know, if you're into fragrances, you'll find yourself, you know, really exploring different notes, things you never really expected yourself to get into just because you enjoy, you know, that smell. And honestly, I just love smells. Like, just walking by and smelling anything that smells good releases like happy chemicals in my brain. So if it smells good, I'm definitely gonna get my nose on it. So something I heard about the Kaizen base for Ariana Evans is that it's very thirsty, so let's work up a lather and see how full that is. And I know on the notes, on the note breakdown, the fragrance itself, it was not inspired by Tom Ford Plum Japonais, but it was actually inspired by a discontinued fragrance or a shave soap by Kalani called Oriental Plum. And I've never got my nose on that, so unfortunately I can't say how close it compares to that in case if you're watching this and you actually have that and you're trying to find something to replace it with, like an alternative. And this is some thirsty soap. I don't know if you can see, but just taking some water and just kind of dunking my brush in there. See if I can get that a little bit more smooth. But the scent profile that they have broken down on their website mentions plum, some dried fruits, tobacco, coffee, I think Tonka bean. To that, and what else? Vanilla, and I always mispronounce it, so I think it's pronounced Plumeria, which is like a floral note. And of course, you know, I can mention all these notes until I'm blue in the face, but how does that really translate? And to be honest, with the note of tobacco, though that is a more, you know, masculine note, it's really sweet. I think it's more of the like sweeter side, like pipe tobacco or like a green leaf of tobacco. So if you've ever had a chance to smell Cavendish by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, it's sweet on that level of tobacco mixed with that plum. And the plum is more of like, kind of like, if you've never, I don't know, if you're not familiar with the note of plum, it's kind of like a candy plum. So if you ever walk by like a Yankee Candle or a White Barn, and I think they may still have some of their seasonal candles out, and you find some like candy plum scents, I would take a whiff of that. It's going to give you somewhat of an idea with that plum note, probably a little bit sweeter. And I'm not really getting any coffee. I'm not picking up coffee whatsoever. Though I wouldn't doubt if it's there, just my nose isn't able to pick it up. And get a little bit of vanilla. You get a little bit of that vanilla base in there for sure. And then definitely the floral note. And if I had to compare to this to like a fragrance that, like, if you just walked in, say, you know, your local department store, even Ulta, you know, they carry, you know, different fragrances, the guy's cologne. So if you ever find yourself shopping with a significant other, or just want to go and smell some colognes, unfortunately, it's not going to be similar to any men's fragrance that comes to mind. What it actually smells like to me, to be quite honest, is going to be I think Dior Poison, which is a women's fragrance, is pretty heavy on plum and some musk. It's a great fragrance. I love it, you know, on ladies whenever I smell it. So you got that sweet, kind of powdery plum mixed with a little bit of that vanilla floral that I get from, like, whenever I smell Flower Bomb. So I know what you're thinking, you know, why would I want a shaving soap that smells like perfume? And to be honest, it's just whatever you really enjoy. You know, it's definitely on the sweeter side. That note of tobacco doesn't really spice it up as much. Instead, that sweetness just kind of makes it more sweet. And, you know, there's some notes of coffee that's in there, but you can't really pick it up, so. Got a little bit of a weaker. You can't really see it, but it'll probably start popping up more in the video. Man, I will say, you know, smell aside, man, this performance is great. It's very slick. So if you're like someone who uses a straight razor a lot, and I know, obviously, holding it, gripping it, it is pretty slick, but that residual slickness, if you have to go back over a certain spot, I think it would do great. And I'd say, like, in terms of, you know, the strength of the smell, it's very light. So, you know, if you enjoy the smell of plum, or if it's something seasonal that you want to use, you know, during the winter time, it's like candied plum and stuff like that being a little bit more prominent, I think it's a good one. I think it's good for winter or spring, you know, a lot of stuff kind of blooming. You start wearing some more like colognes that are green. They may have a little bit of fruits in them as well. And it really is a good, I mean, it is a good smell, but if you were looking for something a little bit more spiced and masculine, I don't think this smell is really going to be it for you. But if you enjoy a sweet vanillic plum, like dried fruits, then I definitely think this is going to be up your alley. Or if you just want to experience that great feel of that Kaizen base, you just want to like switch it up a little bit. You know, you might be getting tired of the same barbershop smells or I think they also have a couple of fragrances that are based off different colognes. If you want to switch it up a little bit, I say feel daring and try this out. Man, it is just gliding straight through. And that's like a huge plus with thirsty soaps, is they really hold that moisture. And I feel like usually are really good with the slickness. And I hope everyone had good holidays. Hope everyone's doing safe, or being safe. I know Valentine's is right around the corner, so if you haven't gotten that special gift, might as well start looking now. And to be honest, when we're talking about fragrances, I know a lot of companies like Sephora will, sell travel size perfumes. And if you want to get your lady something nice, depending on what she already has, I would recommend getting her Dolce & Gabbana, the only one, which is a very good, sweet, heavy, it's almost like chocolate cake and roses. It's super good. If I smell it like on a lady during like a date or something like that, top tier date night fragrance. Or if you want to get them, so if they're more into like roses, something sweet, something floral, Born in Roma by Valentino, another top 10, and they can wear that any time of the year. Casual, dress it up, dress it down. It's if you need last minute Valentine's gifts, that's one I would recommend. Sorry for those who have to see me with my Adam's apple. I always see people shaving and they just glide straight through, but I have such a prominent Adam's apple that I have to kind of like swallow it in, get it moving around. I'm working double time with my Valentine's Day gift. My girlfriend, her birthday is just shortly after Valentine's Day, so I'm trying to get special for both occasions. Yeah. Also super bummed, I tried after the holidays experiencing, getting into like straight razor shaving, and unfortunately the razor that I went to go order was back ordered. I was doing that no shave November, and it carried into the new year, and I was ready to shave, wearing my mask at work, and oh man, it just got so itchy and unbearable. And I found out that there was a store close by to my job who actually sold straight razors. So I found one. It was a Boker King Cutter. It was the last one they had. And I went to go pick it up. It was the one on display. And I guess, I don't know what happened, but the blade just got so dull. And, I have a whetstone. I tried sharpening it, and I just did not have, I did like 50 passes back and forth, tried stropping, and I just had terrible luck. And I ended up shaving with my safety razor, which I was really bummed about, because the coolest videos you'll find with shaving is, people shaving like these gnarly beards with a straight razor and just cut straight through it. But I was happy to start shaving again. And to be honest, if you're watching this video and you have any recommendations for straight razor shaving, I am all ears. Feel free to drop a comment down below. If you had to do it again, what razor would you go with? What straight razor would you start out with? Or you would recommend to a beginner? And same with other materials, you know, like there's so many different kinds of straws and stuff out there, and it gets kind of confusing. It gets expensive. It's not a cheap hobby. I apologize for rambling so much in the beginning. I know this is kind of carrying over into a longer video, but I appreciate you bearing with me. This soap really does feel so great. Definitely a big fan. And what do you guys think? I don't know if anyone out there is watching this has tried any other Ariana Evans products, but what other soaps have you tried that you really enjoyed? It smells. It's like I said, I love me a good smell, so if it smells good, I'd love to get my nose on it. And also, I got so much respect for people who, you know, it's so easy smelling a cologne or a fragrance and saying, man, that smells great. You know, you buy it, you have a sample of it. And you start putting fragrance oils together, trying to duplicate that smell. That's fairly easy. It's tough to get it right the way you want it, but I have so much respect for people who create their own original scents. I'm not as daring with my shave soap journey because there's some smells that could be flops, and I'd feel terrible, you know, going through all those and end up not using it that much, you know, give it to my roommate or something. But yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, you know, with Ariana Evans or any other shave soap, you know, what are some good originals that you like, or even what are some good clones that you like, you know? I mostly have done Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. I've mostly done Sterling. I've done a couple others. Ginger's Garden. You know, I got the Spice Bomb clone that they had. And to be honest, that one was very spicy. In fact, it was a little bit harsh on my face after I got done shaving. All those different spices near that irritated skin. So yeah, first shave with Ariana Evans, first shave with the Gillette Platinum, and it got me a couple times. It's a fairly sharp blade. That post-shave feel of this Kaizen base. Oh my God, it feels so good. I believe Peter Charkalis is the creative mind behind Ariana Evans, and I doubt he'll ever see this video, but he did an incredible job with this Kaizen base. The quality of that soap is so good. And then yeah, kind of like going back to it, you know, Asian Plum. Back to this on profile. Who would I recommend this to? I would recommend this to anyone who enjoys exploring different fragrance notes, or if they found that they enjoy the smell of plum. Because there's good plums out there, good masculine plums. Amouage has some, I think, with Jubilation. Who else? Bond Number 9 had a couple that released with the Andy Warhol collection that I want to say they extended into like their main line. And there's probably a couple more out there, but plum can be done super well with men's fragrances. And then also, if you're planning on pairing this, you know, what would I recommend pairing it with? I personally would recommend pairing it with something that is more spicy and rich, you know, something a little bit deeper, similar to, you know, Laden by Parfum de Marly, or I'm trying to think of something else, or maybe even like La Nuit d'Alone by Yves Saint Laurent. and something that is more deep and woody and already has a little bit of dry fruits, like maybe the One by Dolce & Gabbana, or like Pure Malt by Terra Mugler. I think those would be great to kind of balance that sweet fruitiness from the plum with those more masculine, deep, rich smells. Or during the I'd say maybe even springtime, when you have like a lot of like earthy, green, fresh, some fruits are kind of applied to some of those like springtime fragrances. So I think that would be a good addition as well. And of course, can't finish a shave without pairing it with the matching aftershave. So I'll dig into this as well. Oh man. And that smell is so much stronger with the aftershave too. Rich plum, very vanilla. I hate comparing it to women's fragrance, but Dior Poison mixed with Flower Bomb is what I'm getting out of it. And to be honest, I don't know how many of y'all have ever used the aftershave from Ginger's Garden. It's like a little bit of a more slick, viscous, well not slick, but a little bit thicker, more viscous aftershave, and it leaves your face feeling so, it's unique, but it feels so good. And this is very similar. I would say that this is very on par with like any aftershave if you use it before from Ginger's Garden. So Ariana Evans, you guys did an incredible job with the quality of these soaps. And for those who enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, thanks for joining me on this review. I don't know if it may have been the best, but if this has helped you, if you have any ideas that anything you think would also be good that you may want me to review or kind of touch note on, my goal is to try to make it as easy as possible for whoever's watching it to get an idea as to how that would smell. So yeah, if you have any recommendations, feel free to leave them in the comment below. Other than that, thank you for joining me on my first shave soap review, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.